Hello, back once again with another conversation, another talk, another artist talk about art today, about my art, about artists in general, about art in our world, art in society, art in 2024. Isn't it fun? There is so much interest in art at the moment. I see posts on social media, I talk to people about art, I see art. We're surrounded by artistic things, and maybe not in galleries because they're very self-serving, and maybe not paid for by the Arts Council, equally as self-serving, but around. And we spoke initially in this group of things about a month or two ago about the whole pop art revolution of the 1950s, in which art stopped being just the ownership of art galleries and rich people and high art, and became much more democratized and much more the sort of things in magazines, advertising, products, so that there was a breakdown in the idea of what is art and who is an artist, in that everybody is making art. Every product has an artistic element, and our appreciation of the whole world is artistic. So that we come to an idea of art being thought in evolution, which is Lucia Fontana, who you can look up, and we spoke about that. And we spoke about a thing called the long front of culture, which is the principle behind pop art. And did I say that I hadn't done this for a few weeks because of all the conversations that I've been having with other artists. And one of the conversations was with an artist who's a clothes designer and artist who did an art degree, and he was saying how there was no difference between one expression and another. And we were thinking about that, and I was saying in many ways what I do is design and execution. There are elements that lead to me designing something in a certain way, and there are elements in the way in which I make something in a certain way, and what that design is saying and what that execution is saying, how I make things so that my practice and other people's art practice is within the materials and within the message, which is something I said before and will probably say again. In another discussion that I had that's led from these bits to camera, which I get loads out of, and I think it's the challenge of talking and feeling that there is a discussion in our society. Well, there is. I'm just being part of it and hopefully pushing it along, because we can't continue having the same shallow conversations. We've got to think and make our conversations a bit deeper and a bit more meaningful and a bit more worthwhile. And how do we do that? How do we do that if we don't share a common vocabulary, a common thought about certain things, and find certain things we like or don't like? I know a lot about what I don't like, but it's finding the things we like, or finding things we appreciate, or finding things that mean something to us. And I hope that you will go away from today's watching this and find some piece of art that you like and think about it. As I said before in one of my things, it's really about whether you get it. It's not about whether there's some mysterious emperor's new clothes kind of idea that it's great because we're telling you it's great. It's great because it's great. And yes, that's subjective. But if you look at the blandness of so many things and that they're not saying anything or doing anything, then we have to challenge ourselves to say, what do we want the future to be like? And that what we want the future to be like gets to be in the realm of a thing we're going to call situationalism. It's the essays on it are impenetrable, but I loved finding out about it when I went to art school, and I will talk about situationalism and punk next week. I see myself, I was 15 in 1977, and today is the day Elvis died in August 16th, is it? And 1977, and he rocked the world. He rocked the world by being an artist who used media. He used film, he used music, he used the way he looked, he used everything that went on about him. I was talking with another artist friend about colour theory, and he was telling me that there was a massive book just published by Taschen, and that people were complaining online that there was loads that they didn't put in it about colour theory. So what is colour theory? Colour theory is the way in which we use colour, but it's also the effect colour has on us, and how different combinations of colour work, yellows and blues and other things. I'd always thought that the idea behind motorway signage, which I found out that blue of British motorway signage, it was based on Yves Klein, who used blue a lot, and Yves Klein had this concept of into the void, and pushing the like the Buzz Lightyear from here to infinity, is it? That whole idea is what the blue holds, that idea of out into the blue. It's fabulous, isn't it? Once you get into colour theory, it's hypnotic, isn't it? And you get more enjoyment from art by realising how the mechanics has worked, how it's excited you, and what's exciting you about it, and how, well, just how great looking at art and thinking about art is. There is a great thirst in our society for good art, not the stuff in galleries, because that's very self-serving, and I think I said that before, or the Arts Council, which is equally as self-serving, trying to tell you that, you know, something is artistic because they're funding it, or they've got values within it. It's a bit like the Tate, isn't it? The Tate made all their money to start with from sugar, which was really based on slavery, and so it's an art washing of the history of the Tate or company to have an art gallery in the way in which I'm sure the Guggenheim is an art washing of things, and Nobel, the Nobel Peace Prize, the man was an arms manufacturer. So there are things, hidden agendas to art, which are also worth looking at and thinking about, and thinking, do we want to create a world in which we understand things, or do we like being blissfully ignorant? There's a bit of both, isn't there? So I'm going to continue making art, I'm going to continue talking about it, and I'm going to talk next week about situationalism and punk, and how I see myself as starting at the time of punk, being 15 at the time, and developing through those ideas to the rave scene and the music scene in Ibiza, and now painting on walls. I just got a brilliant commission, and on some hoardings. I quite like it because it's ground level. And I don't have to climb a ladder. I don't mind climbing ladders, really. But let's climb the ladder of art appreciation together next week, and I will speak to you then. So have a good week, and I will try. It's difficult for me because I'm not that disciplined to do something again next week. So until we meet again, keep on doing what you do. Goodbye.